Snake eyes on the clock. This Texans game is over. So join me on the field, in the locker room, in the tunnels, wherever, post-game, along with my good pal John Harris, the radio sideline reporter, as we break down a little bit of what just happened with your Texans in today's game. And please, take a moment to like, subscribe, and review this podcast. There's nothing else like it. Nobody else is on the field post-game like this covering your Texans. Here we go. All right, fifth quarter time is always fun after a W. So I got John Harris. We're walking to his interview of D'Amico Ryans. But before you interview him, I'm going to interview you. Turning point in the game today was?
Wow, it felt like there were so many of them. I think the Texans' ability to run the ball was much better today, and they mixed it up. I mean, the number of players that carried the ball today I think was great. But I think they were just able to amp up the pressure, especially on Carr in the second half. Yeah, Carr got a few things that he wanted, but he was feeling the heat. Especially once it became a two-score game in the second half, and then when it was a one-score game and they had to throw it. I think the physicality off the edge, Penning going in at left tackle was big. The Texans were able to take advantage of that. And then they had to reconfigure their line on the last drive, too, because they put Ruiz from right guard and put him at right tackle. They were down to their final lineman because they were getting guys banged up. So I really think it was the physicality the defense was playing with, especially in the second half. Yeah, they gave up some yards, but when they came up, when they had plays that they needed to make, had to have, they absolutely got them done. And I think that was probably the biggest key today.
They got him from a couple guys, well, many guys, but two in particular. Blake Cashman, He had 15 tackles, a few pass breakups. He took tickets before the game. He sold about 48 hot dogs as well. He did it all today. What a day for this guy who the Texans were very smart. When they came in, this new coaching staff in the offseason, they said, Blake, you've played all the different inside linebacker spots in this defense. Just focus on strong side and own it. He clearly has, John.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. I think you could argue he's been one of the top three Texan defenders this year. He has been in solo coverage on Stephen Ridley, had a pass breakup at Jacksonville, or Calvin Ridley. He was on Kyle Pitts last week and forced an incompletion, the Falcons tight end. Today he was on Taysom Hill down the field, knocked that ball out. I mean, I don't know where this team is without Blake Cashman, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't think people understand how fast he is. He's a 4.5 in the 40 guy. I mean, he can fly. And then he helps out Shaq Griffin on the fourth down play over here to Kamara. And, ball's thrown short. Like, you got to rally up and make that tackle. And Kamara's made a lot of people miss. And Cashman made sure he wasn't going to miss. I mean, I didn't know what his number was at tackles, but 15 sounds about right. It felt like every time he was making the tackle. But good push up front. But other the linebackers played pretty well, and they played pretty well together. The offense didn't help them out in the second half in particular. They were on the field a lot, and they came up with key plays, and Blake Cashman was absolutely outstanding. We've been talking about this guy for a while, and we can see it in camp, he's covering really well. I like the way he's doing this. And it really paid off as he's been healthy and getting back on the field. We just can't go without him, honestly. Can't go without him. He has to be on the field every single play. He's been fantastic.
Steven Nelson, another one of those guys. You talked with him afterwards, but Steven Nelson has had an excellent 2023. Yeah. The bulk of today, he had some plays he'd like back, but when it mattered most, when the Texans needed a play at the end, he gets the pick. Could have been a pass breakup. Either way, he came up huge there. Final defensive play of the game for the Texans.
Yeah, the one I didn't ask him about is I'm sure the one that he would love to have back, and that's in the first half. He read the throw out to the flat and was like he was wide open. But the ball wasn't right at it. It was a little bit lower than his waist. It's kind of hard to catch. He couldn't hang on to it. If he catches that, that's pick six. That's 14-0. And now the Saints are really chasing. Well, then a few plays later, they hit the deep ball, and now it's 7-7, and you're in a battle. And that makes it tough. But, man, I don't know where we'd be without Steven Nelson and Shaq Griffin. Those guys have been really, really good. Look, they're going to give up completions. It happens. But when they needed to make plays, when they needed to clamp down and go straps on receivers, they went straps on receivers. And that's really fun to watch. But, Steven Nelson, 3 picks through 6 games. I mean, that's on a Pro Bowl clip. But you just take him one at a time. He is really centered as a veteran. But he could tell he was excited about what this team can do. And I asked him about, that's a game last year you probably lose. Just given everything that's going on, it was a team that
last 3 or 4 years, really.
Yeah, last 3 or 4 years is probably a game that they're going to lose. And this year, he's like, you know what? We just play hard for each other. We play together. We communicate, and we go get it done. And that's what it was today. They communicated and got it done.
C.J. Stroud gets sacked a couple times, throws his first interception of the year. But when he throws interceptions, the Texans get first downs because a very smart play by Nico. Big day by Nico. Think about that. Yeah. He gets that fumble forced. He has 4 catches for 80 yards. It's a 20-yard clip. Nico Collins is playing phenomenally good. Hey, C.J. Stroud, leads his team to victory.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I mean, just W's. I mean, that's all it is. When it comes down to it, quarterback wins. It's a big stat, and you go get them. And 3-3, I mean, when we started this thing, we played the Indianapolis Colts here in week 2. I was getting a text from a buddy of mine, and he's like, 1 win. I'd like, 7 wins. You think you can get to 7 or 8 wins? I don't even know if you'll get to 1. And right now you're sitting 3-3. You're sitting 500. And I mean, that's pretty impressive. And CJ Stroud has been a big factor in that. The ball he threw to Dalton Schultz in the south end zone, I mean, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
John, you got to interview to Nico. It's always good to be with you, my friend.
Thank you, brother.
All right, that's John Harris. This has been the 5th quarter. I'm walking up to my desk. I look to my left. I see the tunnel where the players are going on the field. To my right, just headed up the steps to my office. This is a fun one. 3-3 at the bye. 500. Let's go Texans.